Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. I'm just quickly setting up. I'll be with you shortly. We are continuing. Muting myself. Right, so we are carrying on in Mythographic Voyage by Joseph Catimbang, and we are working on the whale and train page. Now please excuse any background noise. I've got family just getting ready for bed and the kids going to bed, so I'm going to be using predominantly polys for this page, but I have got a few Prismacolors pulled out, so I'm going to just mix it up and go. So it's going to start becoming a combination of pencils because that's what I need today. Alright, I'm going to zoom you in and we're going to work on the sunflowers and we'll take it from there. Hi True, how are you? Hi Penny, how are you? Okay, so the sunflowers I'm going to use Prismacolors because I like the yellow in Prismacolors. Let me know if the picture gets blurry and I will sort it out. Sometimes I have a few issues with the blurriness. Okay, so I hope everyone is well and hope you've had a good day. I'm using PC938 Cadmium Orange Hue, and I'm just going to put in my shadows. So for those of you who live in the States, how was your 4th of July? How do you normally celebrate 4th of July? Well, we had a quiet day at home today. I'm not doing so well today, but it's okay. It will change and tomorrow is a new day. So I'm coloring and going to allow myself some therapy, and I love that coloring can provide that for us when we're feeling a bit out of it. We can just go to coloring and it helps. Oh, that sounds lovely that you had a barbecue, no fireworks, relaxed time at home. I'm glad your celebration was a good one. We had some homeschool events on the 4th of July, so we were just doing a little bit of activities around that because we like to theme things around major events and use it as a learning opportunity and appreciating different cultures and that sort of thing. So like World Book Day is another one we do, and obviously Christmas and Easter. I do like American Thanksgiving. I've never had or participated in American Thanksgiving, but I do love the ethos of it. I think it's a really cool one, and in some ways I kind of wish that more countries celebrated Thanksgiving just from expressing gratitude, really. I think sometimes gratitude is a little underrated in the world today, and we've got so much we can actually be thankful for. Hi Carly, how are you? Hi Audrey. Oh, welcome. Welcome all the way from Scotland. I love Scotland. We visited last year up in Edinburgh. It was so lovely. Hopefully we'll go back to Scotland at some time for another holiday. I'm not sure when we'll get to it, but we did really enjoy our stay. I'm glad you're thankful every day, Carly. It really is helpful. Gives a cool spin on life when we're thankful. Right, so I am probably a bit sluggish in colouring today. I'm still trying to get my colouring funk back. I'm in such a funny space. So I feel like I'm just going to take my time with this. I did do a 45-minute challenge on the weekend. I saw on Instagram that one of the color alongs was finish a coloring page within 45 minutes, and I thought, oh my goodness, 45 minutes to finish an entire page, are you kidding me? And because I mainly use pencils, this was like, okay, I normally take maybe 4 hours on a page on just a standard simple page, and I must compress it to 45, but I like a good challenge. So I rummaged through my colouring books, I ummed and ahed. I giggled at my husband because he said to me, oh, just pick something with a really small picture and that you can do comfortably in 45 minutes because you do take your time. And I said to him, well, the thing is, if I do something small, I just didn't feel like it was really rising to the challenge. But anyway, so I picked a page out of one of Hannah Carlson's books, and I sat down. I had my timer, I had my pencils, I had my whole plan, got down to colouring, coloured as fast as was humanly possible using Polychromos, which we all know is a layered pencil. And I managed to finish the bulk of the picture, but now my conundrum is it finished because I haven't put a background and I didn't embellish and I didn't put my white highlights with the gel pen? So I'm kind of like, well, I probably am not going to get to colouring anything better than that in 45 minutes, because my goodness me. And I filmed the whole thing so I could share it with you. But I'm going to put a whole chunk of it to music because there was no ways I could do conversation and rambling 45 minutes and focus on colouring. It's just like not going to happen. So we'll see. It was a fun experiment. Oh, lovely. You're further north from Edinburgh. That's cool, Audrey. We couldn't go up much further because we holidayed down by, I think it was near Dunbar. And we went into Edinburgh for a few sites. We had my mother-in-law with us, so I think she really enjoyed it. And we stopped at Edinburgh Castle. My grandma was Scottish, so I was really keen to go and visit Scotland and just kind of see where she came from, even though I don't really remember which area of Scotland she was from. I highly recommend Scotland to anyone who's keen to go because it really is a gorgeous place to go. And I was so surprised at how different Edinburgh city was compared to London. And yeah, it was just really beautiful. So if you ever want to go to Scotland, I highly recommend it. Hi, Tanya. Hi, B. It's great to see you, B. How are you keeping? Oh, so I thought I went and bought myself a coloring page for the checklist challenge that I'm doing. Color and Chat with Sammy. She's done and does do the whole coloring checklist challenges. So I printed that off in the beginning of the year, and I've been trying to work on it. So one of the challenges was to color a PDF page, and preferably on toned paper, which was a separate challenge, and a color page in fashion, and there was also a challenge for coloring a decade. So I knew I wanted to color something in the 1920s, so like Great Gatsby inspired and all of that. And I had, when I was about 17 or 18, attended one of the work parties at my parents' work, because I also volunteered for them. And I think at that time I might have been working there as well. So it was a 1920s Christmas party, so we got all dressed up, nice sparkly outfits, and I wore feather in my hair. And so that kind of like stood out to me as a decade, and I was hunting on Etsy for a really cool fashion page, but also something that was in the decades. And I was like, I don't want modern, because I live in modern. Like, if I'm going to color a fashion page or a decade, I want to do something that is not my everyday kind of thing. So I looked online, I was umming and ahhing, and then I remembered Coloring with Elena had done a 1920s dance theme page, and I think it was Lenka something with an F. I'm terrible with names today. And I thought, okay, hang on, I remember that page, I remember seeing it, and I went onto Etsy, had a good look, found the page, so I bought it and I downloaded it, and I'm slowly working on that. And then today I decided, oh, I found it on Amazon. I found her book, the dancing book, and so I decided I needed retail therapy, and I went and bought it. So there you go. That's going to be my thing. Hi, Mona. How are you? I tell you, Roaring Twenties, Collie. It's brilliant. Like, I read the Great Gatsby in, oh gosh, I think it was in my first year of university. I read that and I actually really enjoyed it. Then I ended up reading some other book which I found had far too much swearing, and my youthful self was like, no, I can't cope with this amount of swearing, and the nature of the book was just more than I could bear. So I messaged the lecturers and I said, I can't do this, and I think they excused me from the assignment and said I could do something else. But Great Gatsby was a great book to read, and I really did enjoy reading it. So yeah, the Roaring Twenties kind of stuck in my head. And then of course you've got I think it was the Titanic was set in the Roaring Twenties, so you bring that into it. That also tapped into like childhood memories, because when the Titanic movie came out with Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, my dad, it was his favorite movie, I think, for the whole of the 90s. And so we watched that movie over and over and over again, and I think almost to the point where we girls could recite it verbatim. Not quite, but almost. So yeah, I think Roaring Twenties just has a little bit of an impression. It was either that or 1950s, and I was like, I don't know about 1950s. Oh, it's a pleasure, Mona. I'm glad you're doing well. Hi, Pickle. Great to have you. Okay, you have to elaborate. What is the Charleston dance? Because I don't know that. So enlighten me. I think just like when you have coloring and you can tap into memories, or you know, it gives your coloring something really special. It adds like meaning to coloring, and which, you know, then obviously I got thinking over the weekend as well, and a bit today about, you know, coloring as art and what art means. And I was like, well, you know, coloring actually is art. And when I look at whether it's artists or in music or anything, and I had this discussion with my almost 11-year-old, we were talking about music, and I said to him, like, you know, when people do music, or when people paint or do art, we do what's going on in our emotional state. We do what's happening in our lives, because it's a release for what's going on. So I said to him, like, with music, you know, it's more than just a cool beat. It's the words of a song that we also need to like listen to quite deeply and say, well, what is this person saying, and what is the meaning behind the message? And when I do coloring, I mean, you get loads of pictures where it's just a pretty picture and you enjoy it, and I color it because it's nice. But I do have these art moments every now and then when coloring becomes more than coloring. It becomes an expression. It's like something in me identifies with something on the page, or it does a deep thing. And like, I had a page in Magical Dawn where I wrestled with it so much, I actually wanted to throw it in the bin. And I had to wrestle through, and that experience of wrestling through and overcoming and facing some of my stuff has left a really fond attachment to the picture. So, like, I just think that coloring is art, and we need to see it as art. Anyway, for those of you who are new to the channel, and those of you who have been around for a little while, you're going to find that there are days where I have deep conversations. So that's just who I am. I try keep it relatively light, but that is how I think and talk. So heads up, that sometimes you're going to get that from me, because sometimes I just need to talk it out. But for the most part, it will be relaxed and cool and casual, and a safe place for you to hang out and just be. Right, so I think I'm going to end up with like browny, fiery sunflowers instead of really bright sunflowers. I think I chose too dark a shade. Oh well, never mind. It's okay. We'll have just rich sunflowers, and they'll be a bit more orangey than yellow. So, to PDF or not to PDF, what do you think? Are you a PDF kind of person, or are you more of a coloring book kind of person? Which one do you go to? And when you print your PDFs, how do you like to store them? What is your thing? It's so true, Pickles. On a good day we hear the music, and on a bad day we understand the lyrics. I like that. Alright, I'm not going to do all 4 sunflowers. I will just do these 2 and then I'll move on so that you're not stuck here watching me do sunflowers for 2 hours, because that would be boring. Hi Alex! Great to have you. So you prefer coloring books? Oh, thank you, True. I appreciate that. Okay, cool, Cully. So you do a PDF and you store it in a notebook. That's cool. I have picked up cinnamon. I don't want cinnamon. I don't know what I want right now. Alright, let's try raw umber. Okay, cool. So you store in sleeves in a binder. That's cool, Penny. Hi, Jen. You put your PDFs onto a clipboard and then color them. Oh, in a photo album. That's cool. I hadn't thought about that. Hey Shani, it's great to have you. Thanks for coming. Oh, I hear you, Audrey. I don't print PDFs much. Yeah, I like books. I always have. Even, you know, my husband, he does software and programming and that sort of thing, and he will say to me, you know, there's an app for this, there's an app for that, and I'm like, I know, but I like a book. I like a book, and I like pencils, and I like pens. Well, when I'm writing, I like a pen. I don't always want to have to rely on a PDF. I'm not a PDF, seriously. I don't always want to rely on technology. Sometimes it's just quicker and easier to go for pen and paper. So I do like having books and using books, but sometimes you can't always get the picture you want in the book you have. So then I tend to see, can I get a PDF? And I don't mind buying the odd PDF. And I think it can also be a great way to enjoy or try out new artists and see if you like them. So I think I've got a handful of PDFs. But if it's in a book, it has better luck. Okay, I don't want that one. I want a walnut brown. Oh, Shani, I hear you about lost socks and what single socks. You should see a pile of single socks we have. I think I have a sock monster in my house and just devours my socks. It's actually more the boys' socks. I don't know if any of you have read Terry Pratchett. One of the Terry Pratchett books I read down in the basement was like where the sock monster lived, kind of like a washing machine but for socks. And he spewed out, he would devour the socks and not bring them back, and except you'd have single socks. So I quite like that analogy. Like some sock monster living in the basement, eating up all the socks. Maybe I should check for some of my forks down there as well, because we went through forks at one stage. Teenagers losing socks. Oh dear. I'm at the stage of trying to convince my preteens to actually change their clothes. Putting their clothing in the wash is actually a good idea. Or even having a bath is a good idea. It's quite funny, actually. I want a little bit of darkness in here. I mean, one of the PD artists I do want to try, and eventually I'll get around to it, is Lana Green's work, because I think her portraits are really exquisite. So at some point I will get into her beautiful work. Tell you, all these beautiful artists, not enough time. Oh, and the clearing of bedrooms, yeah. I have one, well, two. The eldest one is not too bad with cleaning his room. He keeps it relatively clean. He's quite methodical. And the younger two, I have to watch. I mean, the youngest is going to be 9 soon. But he likes to push and see what he can get away with. But to be fair, their rooms are a lot cleaner than my room was as a teenager. The thing is that now getting them out the house, unless they're going to see friends, it's like a mission. Whereas when they're smaller, you know, they wanted to be out the house. Really? Alana Green has a book on Amazon? Wow. I'll have to go look. That would be cool. See, now I would go and buy her book, but it will take me forever to go and buy a PDF. Just even one. Oh, wow, Alex, your boys are 15 and 17. That's cool. Yeah. We're catching up. We'll get there. My boys are 13 in the end of the year, almost 11, and soon to be 9. But we still got a little while. Oh, thanks, True. So I saw Kirby Rosanna's there's talk about him bringing out another book, but I can't tell if it's a new book or if it's going to be a compilation or what's going on there. So I think I'm going to hold off and just watch this space and see what actually is going on. I mean, a part of me is kind of leaning towards it's a compilation, because as far as I understood, he was taking some time off. So, I mean, if it doesn't make sense for him to release a new coloring book if he was taking time off illustrating, unless I've totally missed the plot, which you know is possible. I could misunderstand. Do any of you enjoy compilation books? Is that something you do, or is it something you'd add to a collection? Is it more like a collector's piece? Although I heard on My Colourful Country Live, I think it was her completed pages for June, she mentioned some of the positives and encouraging opportunities that have opened up since the Kirby collab, which I thought was really encouraging for those people who did participate. So it was really encouraging. And I'm glad that Kirby enjoyed his compilation. I thought it was such a cool idea. Oh, that's helpful to know, Pickles. I didn't notice that it was a new publisher. That is very true, Jen and Pickles. So that, you know, you can only have so many compilations before it can get a bit boring. But also, on the other hand, having compilation books are great to take with you for travel. I mean, those are very good, very insightful points. So then, do you travel a lot then, Jen? I hope the paper quality of Kirby's books doesn't go worse or change. You know, if it does change, I hope it's better instead of worse, because I do quite like his Fragile World, well, the World series that he's done, and the paper seems pretty okay. I'm not as experienced as other people in paper quality, but I do appreciate that I can use quite a few different mediums in his books, and they turn out well. Oh, that sounds so exciting, Jen. Road trips in an RV. That sounds really cool. So are you planning on traveling all over when you get your RV and go around a bit more? Okay, I'm going to do some skin tone here on the dude. Who has like pink tips on his hand, anyway. Oh, that's so cool, visiting all 50 states. Oh, wow. So was Alien Worlds, did you see a big change in the paper then? I haven't got Alien Worlds yet. I'm considering getting Mythic World and Alien Worlds. I actually find I prefer bigger portraits to these little portraits because the trying to layer up the colors so it looks a little bit believable is really tricky in these little portraits. Whereas if you color in a bigger portrait, you can actually really practice layering skin tone properly and working on color combos. It's like his hand is actually disappearing into the flowers, which is a pity. Sorry, you can't really see what I'm doing as I'm doing it because my hand is blocking the way. Exactly, size does indeed matter. Generally should matter. Alright, so let's give him denim trousers or pants. It will be a cool trip. I think I might do this decoration here, possibly with like a gel pen. I feel like that could work. I think even his, nope, I can't do that blue because that is like more of a belt. That would not work very well. Can you imagine? It's like a matching denim belt. That is so cool, Jen. I love that. You're going to colour in a state as you visit them. I mean, yeah, I hear you about it taking you longer, but I like the sentiment. It's really cool. So, what does the book look like? I mean, is it scenic? Is it more like the state flag and that sort of thing? Because when I learned about the states, I was homeschooled as a kid, so my education was largely American. And I remember learning about all 50 states, their state code, the flower, the state flower, the state flag, I think the flag, the state bird. I mean, this was back, I think, in like primary school, so a little rusty on it. But there you have it. Hi Leslie, how are you? How's your puppies? And how was the weekend? I think I might have found a channel by a fashion artist where I can learn how to use colored pencils to illustrate the folds in clothes and different types of fabric. So I saw like fur material and folds of clothes and that sort of thing, because I find it's really tricky to really know how to shape clothing. On this guy it's not too bad, but sometimes other pictures, like in Hannah Carlson's books with the girls, and then they'll have like their fabric. I'm like, well, how do I illustrate? Or sometimes you want to show that it's a specific type of material. She's got an Indian accent though, excuse me, which will be interesting because sometimes I struggle to understand the accents, but I'm looking forward to having a browse on her channel and just see what I can glean from there. No worries, Leslie. You just take your time. I hope your nap was good though, and I'm glad your weekend was good and puppy's doing well. Sounds like he's definitely keeping you on your toes. Oh, that's so cool. Your granddaughter is graduated. That's cool, Penny. And Jen, that your daughter was homeschooled and she's now a teacher. Does she enjoy teaching then? Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, dealing with parents is a totally different kettle of fish. I'm glad I'm doing his pants blue. I think it will work better. It just brings some of that color down. I must say, I mean, somebody had said to me, "You're going to homeschool your children when you're an adult." I would have laughed at them. It's like, no, I am not homeschooling my children. As far as I was concerned, my children were going to go to school and they were going to do all those fun things that your typical child gets to do. They're going to have all these friends. And we did try when my eldest was about 2.5 or so. I tried then, but I didn't know then what I know now. And yeah, I fell pregnant with the third child, and there's a small gap between the eldest and the middle child. So I wasn't in a space to cope with it very well. So I stuck them in nursery school. And then when we moved to the UK, we decided we were going to homeschool them, that it was best for them and where they were at. And then we just kind of carried on. But I had, at the time, so when the kids were about 6 and under, I had one of my hubby's cricket mates. From actually not even a mate, it was a guy from one of the teams that he played against. He happened to was sitting nearby, and I'd gone to support hubby at one of his cricket games. When he looked at me and he said to me, "Oh, you're going to homeschool?" I was like, "Oh, no, I'm not going to homeschool." And I had this internal feeling of like, just swallow your pride and your attitude and just listen and kind of save this conversation for a rainy day. And it wasn't long after that we decided to move to the UK, and then we decided just where the kids were and compared to the British system, because South African schooling system is very different to the British system. So it would be better if they were homeschooled. So yeah, I learned a lesson to just heed, not rush or judge things too quickly. Hi Renee, how are you? Oh, I'm glad you like what I'm doing with the page. Hello, Ambient Landscapes. It's great to have you. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, that sounds interesting. You've got a video up. Nice. Right, I'm thinking I'm going to need to bring in a slightly lighter color to just blend out some of these highlights. Because if I make it all one, too much blue, I am going to have no shape to his trousers. I am just looking for my pencils because I have pencils next to me, pencils away from me, pencils in my hand. Gosh, Annie, somebody putting different numbers on your mail, that's not cool. So I'm telling myself, keep your darks dark, keep your lights light. Right, so any ideas on colour for the train? I had a child suggest brownish reds, so almost like muted reddish tones. True, I go quiet, then I go loud, and then I talk. So it could be that I'm just talking quietly. So I use my phone to record, and if I stand up, my audio on the film is better than if I sit down. So it will fluctuate a little bit, but I try not to. No, I'm not a constant jabber or talkative person. So I am working on practicing talking. Talking to myself is, well, it's a skill that needs practicing, just like coloring takes practice, so we will get there. I can very easily get lost into what I'm doing and go quiet, but then that would be very boring. So, okay, I'm going to leave his trousers there. And I'm going to come and work here on the bridge with a walnut brown, and maybe I'll bring in a sienna brown. Well, let's try sienna brown. Renee, that's hilarious. When you start arguing with yourself. I used to talk a lot more out loud to myself, and over the years I've gotten quieter. Maybe I've just run out of things to say. Or maybe I just enjoy the peace and quiet. Right, so some raw umber. Keep with the color palette here. See, this is the thing with me and markers. You put markers down and then I end up coloring over them anyway. So sometimes I'm like, well, what's the point of using markers if I'm just going to color them anyway? Besides the fact that using markers just helps to remove the tooth of the paper, so you don't have to layer up as much. So, are you a marker person, or do you steer clear from markers? I've been toying with the idea of possibly allowing myself to buy some paper that is suited to markers so that I could actually blend them properly, and really like try and pretend I am a professional marker artist and I can blend so well, like some of these amazing artists you see on YouTube. So I'll just impersonate them. But I think with the right paper, you could probably, well, one could learn how to do markers really well. It's like markers on Amazon paper for blending is just rubbish because they just get saturated, soaked up into the paper anyway. Whereas as far as I understand, if you use marker paper, it holds the alcohol on the surface a lot longer, so you can move it around a bit more. So you do markers until you became friends with everyone in the coloring community. Hi, Brittany. So, Brittany, the mythographic books work well with Polychromos. Prismas are also one of my favorites. Castle arts aren't too bad. Black Widows are okay-ish. I'm happy to even try Black Widows. I have been playing with Black Widows in here, and they work relatively okay. Marker Raffine, they absorb quite quickly into the paper. So it's possibly that I am using the marker Raffines wrong and pressing too hard instead of layering them. Depends on, I don't know. I don't have anything else, but ink tints also work really well in mythographic. That's about all that I've tried. But yes, paper is everything, I think, Renee, with just about anything really, like especially alcohol markers and water-based medium. you can really, I think a lot can be said for paper quality when you test paper with those sort of things. I don't know. I'm not that familiar with all the different papers yet. So Leslie, are you saying that you'd like to use your markers a bit more than what you currently are? I don't mind using markers as a base. I did one picture several months ago where I used a kind of like a general artist paper, and I used markers on that, and that was a nice experience. So I think if you're testing and wanting to grow in markers, to get decent paper really helps a long way in the experience. It did help me to kind of get over a bit of my snobbery towards markers, because I'm like, pencils any day, markers no. But I do like seeing what people do with markers, or even watercolor. Oil pastels, now there's another thing. Like, do you use oil pastels much in your work? And how do you color with them? How do you find them in your coloring books? So oil pastels are another one of my avoid at all costs. Yeah, definitely I will avoid oil pastels at all costs, because they are really messy, and oh, maybe I just don't have good oil pastels, but I like the vibrancy of the ones I do have. So I tend to lean into it's a user problem more than anything, really. I saw someone on Instagram, I don't remember who, they were doing a reel showing, I think it was distress ink in the background with oil pastels on top. They made a beautiful background. It was really, really cool. I just can't remember who it was, and I can't check because I'm using my phone to videotape all of this. Alright, so as far as markers I have alcohol markers. I am aware of water-based markers, but I don't use water-based markers because I don't have them. And if I was to choose between alcohol markers and water-based markers, going on what I've seen other people doing and their comments and experiences, I would say water-based markers are probably the most versatile when it comes to no bleed through. So you could use them more in different colored books. Oh wow, Renee, that's so cool that you had such a cool experience with Copic paper and your markers. Oh, you love oil pastel, Shani. That's so cool. I'll go and snoop in your channel and see what I can find. I haven't used brushes for oil pastels yet. See, I'm catching up quickly on all the comments. Oh, Leslie, I totally agree with you. I'm terrified of oil pastels. And then when I do try them, I think, oh, it's ugly. I can't do this. And it doesn't help that my youngest son, a couple of years ago, decided that he was going to go through a phase where he has to take the wrappers off just about everything. So if he has jars or bottles, you know, water bottles, Coke, soda bottles or whatever, so he has to he'll go, yeah, look mommy, they're naked. So he takes all the wrapping off. So he got hold of my oil pastels the one day. He must have been about 4 or 5, and next thing I knew, all the wrapping on my oil pastels had been removed, and there all my oil pastels lay in a tub together, rubbing each other up the wrong way. So they are incredibly dirty, and if I use my oil pastels, I have to clean them quite frequently. And then obviously, because they don't have any paper, my hands get dirty, which means I smudge onto the paper, which then becomes a whole nightmare, because now everything's smudgy. And yeah, yuck. The joys of children. But I am definitely going to go and start snooping in Shani's channel to see a few techniques on oil pastels. Maybe I'll be inspired to overcome my trepidation. I will try a cheap glass cutting board. I normally would take a piece of paper and then rub the whole oil pastel. Yeah, they're really a sorry state. The funniest thing is his expression when he takes it off. He looks at me with this very cheeky, very naughty look, and like, look mommy, I'm taking the wrapper off. It's very, very cheeky. Right, I am stuck. I don't know what to do with these clouds. They need to be colored in, and I don't know whether to do them pink and purple, you know, like lavender, maybe some lilac, or whether to do them, see, I don't want to really do them grey because they'll go into the whale. Pink? What pink clouds? Yes, it gets tricky when they're adorable and they know they're adorable and they use it to their advantage. All right, pink clouds. Oy, oy, oy. Okay. Right. Then I am probably going to be a Prisma girl and go for Prismas and pull in some of, like, maybe some salmon pink. Oh, let's see. Purple. Oh, okay. Now we're gonna get torn here. Right, so maybe I can move pink and purple into each other, because pink and purple can work nicely in the shadows. You got purple and pink. I should do a poll. Cast your votes now. Purple or pink? Purple or pink? Okay, let's think. What we could do is something similar, like when you do snow. You can use purple and pink in the shadows and create some nice snow. We could probably do something similar. Let's see. Got like different style of clouds going on here. So we found out that Tanya likes pink. Well, we'll play. At least nobody asked for green clouds. Well, don't worry. If I don't like something, I just do what I want anyway. So I'll try it. I'll see what I can do with these colors. But if I don't like it, I will just throw it all completely out the window and figure something out. Okay, let's have a look. Let's see. The thing is, you want some color because it will liven it up. But it's more like trying to get the balance between the darks and the lights going. So who likes to draw clouds into their backgrounds? Chartreuse, no, no, Leslie, I'm cringing at the very thought of using chartreuse. Oh, no. Maybe if we do a different color. So I'll tell you what, I will reserve chartreuse as a cloud option on a different page. Everything inside of me just cringed. Like, oh my gosh, no. Do you know why? It's because of that picture I was telling you about. I did in Magical Dawn. I used I think it was a chartreuse, and on the hair, oh my gosh, the hair ended up looking like a puke green. Ugh. So I'm still traumatized. I'll get over it. Oh, that's nice, Leslie. Nice stencil. I've seen a few people use a simple cloud stencil, and it does look very effective. I think I need to do more color alongs with, you know, other people who have drawn in their clouds by hand, and just keep working on it, because I've tried and I'm not there yet. These ones are easy to still color because they're already drawn in, but the stencil one is a great option. See, pink and purple work well because they're on, and they're analogous, so there you go. And have happy medium. And then if you really want to brighten it up, you can use cream. Oh, Colouring with Elena does beautiful clouds. I love her clouds. And she's very inspiring, actually. All the pictures she comes up with and her ideas are really incredible. She's one of those people, like, you know, when I grow up, I want to be like Colouring with Elena. Or when I grow up, I want to be like ... fill in the blank. Although her dramatic clouds she's been doing in some of her mythic world pictures are really, really inspiring. And I think she's done some dramatic clouds in some other books as well. And so I do like that, because what I like with Colouring with Elena is she is very open about experimenting and trying different things and pushing herself, and I really like that she also expresses what worked, what didn't work, what she liked, what she didn't like. And I found, especially in the beginning of my colouring journey, it gave me courage to experiment, because I could see someone else who is amazing at what they do. They were trying and they were experimenting. So I really like that about her. Oh, exactly, Leslie. They are amazingly talented people. I mean, there's another lady who, she is a fine artist, Michelle Monia Gates, and I love her videos. I just find I'm not quite at that level yet, so I stopped watching her live streams just because I didn't feel I had grown to a level where I could really get the most out of her videos. But I love her work. I'm always awed by what she does, because, and even the colorists who color her pages, they do such an incredible job. And I'm just not there. And I like that because, you know, save some for later. That's cool, Renee. Being able to stay true to you and do what you like, that's really cool. Yeah, she is amazing. I mean, I remember watching like some of Manya's. She does a couple of pages or a tutorial with different types of metals. So it's incredible how she does it. And I remember watching her do a skin tone one day with purples and greens, and I mean, it was phenomenal. Then I tried, and I ended up creating a very jaundiced character, and I had to go over it with grade lavender to knock back the green and make him look a little bit more healthy. And it didn't turn out too badly in the end, but I thought, okay, I'm not ready to introduce green undertones to my portraits. I'll do blues, I'll do purples, but not greens. And that one doesn't work so well for me yet. But that was a helpful video because I started to understand why people, especially your more intermediate to advanced colorists, would start saying, or even artists, they would say, okay, you need, you know, when you're mixing skin tone, use some purples, use some blues. So watching that video helped me understand. And then I've seen like Christine Karen and other artists use a red pencil, a yellow pencil, and a blue pencil, and only those three pencils to do skin tone. And that, wow. Oh, exactly, Leslie. Being able to take the techniques and apply them. Yeah, absolutely. There you go. You can see now your beautiful purpley pink clouds. Hi, Shani. Thanks for popping in. And I will go over the edges of the clouds with a white gel pen later on. And what that will do is just make it more fluffy. Because I like fluffy clouds. I like fluffy snow. So again, I won't do all the clouds with you because that will take forever. But I will do some of them and then we'll move on and do something else. And slowly but surely we'll get this page done. Any requests for another live stream color along? Because I might be able to move on to a different coloring book. Not next Monday, because next Monday I am away. I am going down to see my parents. I'm taking the boys with me. So I doubt I won't be able to do a live stream then. But what I can do is try and do a live stream for maybe Sunday. So I'll just move my live stream to a Sunday instead. But we can always look at doing a different page. So if you have any requests, let me know. If I have the book, I will do that. Otherwise, I will give it some thought. Pencil sets that I haven't worked in a while would probably be Castle Arts, and I haven't done any Rita Berman this year. I haven't done much Clara Markova. I'm just thinking, what else haven't I touched? I haven't touched much of the Flower Year or Creative Haven books. Although Creative Haven and Castle Arts are a no-go. They don't work. Favorite book and favorite pencils. That's a problem. I don't remember. Well, I don't have a favorite book. So last year my favorite book was Mythographic Paradise. I don't know what my favorite book is this year. But okay, I will give it some thought and do favorite pencils and favorite book. Oh, thanks, Mona. Right, so now for more of the train. I think I'm going to give him like a white shirt. So to do that, I need some beige sienna, and I'm going to use my cream because I recently discovered that beige sienna works really nicely to create shadows. And then I sometimes throw in a bit more of a grey. I hear you, Renee. Don't play favorites. Death by pencil. Oh, Leslie, you're so kind. Thank you. Hi, Robin. Well, maybe we should do a Creative Haven then, because I actually haven't done that in a while, and that would be fun. And I can then use Prismas, because I do enjoy Prismas, and Prismas in Creative Haven I find work really well. And then I'm going to bring in a grey, a warm grey, just ever so slight in the shadow, very deep shadows. Okay, Brittany, the Creative Haven books I have are Country Charm, Country Garden. I've got Enchanted Christmas. I have... oh, hang on. Let me get them. Okay, let me zoom you out slightly so you can see this a bit better. All right, I have Autumn Charm, Christmas Charm, Country Charm, Country Gardens, and Enchanted Christmas. So those are the Creative Haven books that I have, and they're all by Teresa Goodrich, and I like her work. She's really, really good. And her older books, the paper is much nicer than the more recent ones, because the ones in Enchanted Christmas, that paper kind of seems to be a bit more picky. Right, I'm zooming you back in. I am coloring with Prismas now for the shirt because I am familiar with them, and today is one of those moods where I'm chopping and changing. Hi ho. But if you were to use polys, I would then just get out a dark warm grey, maybe a dark warm grey 4, I would use some cinnamon and a cream or an ivory. You could probably get something similar, but the rosy beige is what I really wanted. So he'll end up with it will look maybe a bit more off-white than white. And then if I use the white pencil when I'm finished, and I did use Prismas for the clouds, yes. Oh, fabulous, Leslie. I'm glad you have all this, the same Creative Haven books I have. So that's cool. I picked up some blue. I didn't want to pick up some blue. All right, I think he's going to need a dark belt. So let's use, so I'm going to go back to Polly's now. And give him a nice brown belt. Christmas in July. Okay, I can do a Christmas in July. I don't mind that. I'll have a look through. There's some nice pictures there. Yeah, I couldn't decide there what I was doing. And then artichoke.